What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, and I'm going to be doing a more podcasty style. You guys know I do this for all the new sets. I don't think I've missed one for quite some time now. This came out 2 days ago. It's the new Ancient Guardian set. I'm literally going to go and review every single card. If you guys are new to all of these, some of these I will be. I don't think I went over the Snake Rain stuff individually. I'm not sure. I know that your Exotic stuff is in here. I did do that one, but I'll go back over them, quickly give my opinions. Looks like there's 60 cards, and yeah, we'll just go from there. I like to look at these sets to see, like, from a card-to-card basis, is it worth getting? Like, is there enough value throughout it for you guys, in my opinion, that you should be buying it? We'll see. So we'll start with new. Okay, so I guess they're calling the new Snake Rain archetype Ogdotic. Ogdotic. Doesn't sound right. Just call it Snake, alright? The Snake Remnant. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Send one dark reptile monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is good, I suppose. They're all graveyard reliant. If you control no monsters, or you control a snake monster, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. Also, you cannot special summon monsters except reptile monsters. While this card is face up in the monster zone, you can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. And this is a level 4, 0 attack, 0 defense. I know this snake little archetype is used as a rank 8 engine from what I've seen, so pretty cool. In any case, we can move on here to Nauya, the snake remnant. This is also a dark level 4. So they're both darks and light, so that's kind of the whole idea, I suppose. Are any of these tuners? Because then you can make the synchro, right? The chaos synchro. In any case, 2000 defense, 0 attack. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Send one light reptile monster from your deck to the graveyard. So it's this opposite of new. If this card is normal special summoned, you can add one snake, spell, or trap from your deck to your hand. It's the Magician's Rod of the archetype. So far, so good. I mean, being able to Foolish Burial cards, of course, is always very nice. On top of, Snake Rain, which you probably always want to do. This is Flogos, the Snake Boundless, light, level 4 reptile effect, 1800 attack, 1400 defense. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, or special summoned from the graveyard, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and one monster in their graveyard with an equal or higher attack than that target. Special summon that monster from the graveyard to their field, and if you do, send the other monster they control to the graveyard. If this card is sent from the field, special summon, you can target one face-up monster controls and one monster in the graveyard. Special summon. Okay, so you're getting rid of one of them, but you're giving them a monster back. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Add this card to your hand. Interesting. I don't really know. Like, you're not really like doing anything great. I guess if they just have like garbage in their graveyard, then that's a good thing. But it has to have equal or greater attack. I don't think that's a very good card. This is Zoha, the Snake Boundless, dark, level 4 reptile effect, 1500 attack, 1700 defense. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, or special summon from the graveyard, you can activate this effect. Your opponent draws one card, and if they do, you add one snake monster from your deck to your hand except this card. Then each player sends one card from their hand to the graveyard. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, add this card to your hand. This archetype, I think, is too obsessed with giving your opponent something. You're kind of like not letting them fix their hand necessarily. Like, these aren't like overwhelmingly, like you should never activate this effect, because at the end of the day, I mean, they do have to discard a card. It's not like they get to keep it. That's just decent, I suppose. And this lets you add a monster from deck to hand. It's fine. This is where we're getting to the level 8s. So these are supposed to be the good ones, basically. Light level 8 reptile effect, 400 attack, 2400 defense. If this card is in your graveyard, you can tribute one monster, special summon this card. Then your opponent can special summon one monster from the graveyard, but negate its effects. Again, what the heck? Yeah, and this is a going second deck for sure. If this card is special summon, you can target one level 4 lower snake monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. It doesn't negate the effects too, which is nice, because all of these have effects when special summoned from graveyard. So this is obviously like the best monster so far, pretty much. This is Alurit, the Snake Dark. Dark, level 8, Reptile effect, 2000 attack, 800 defense. If this card is in your graveyard and you contribute one monster, special summon this card, and then your opponent can add one monster from their graveyard to the hand. That one's really bad. This is like the worst kind of cost here. If this card is special summoned, you can target 2 of your banished monsters, including a reptile monster, return them to the graveyard. I don't know, you're not banishing just quite yet. One of these must banish or something. I don't like this. I don't like this at all, actually. I think this is the worst monster. And it's a super rare. This is Aaron, the Snake King, light level 8 reptile effect, 2500 attack, 2800 defense. If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute 2 monsters, special summon this card. If your opponent adds a card to their hand, except during the draw or damage step, you can send 1 random card from the hand to the graveyard. Okay, I mean, that's good. If a monster your opponent controls is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 light or dark reptile monster from deck to hand, except this card's name. So this is the best card of this set so far. Decent attack stats as well. You do have to tribute 2 monsters, but you can make them discard a random card from their hand. And also add cards to your hand too. Nice. That's an ultra rare. This is Ammunitia, the Snake Queen. Dark, level 8, reptile effect, 2700 attack, 2100 defense. If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute 2 monsters, special summon this card. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's graveyard, you can send 1 card they control to the graveyard. Situational for sure, but I mean everybody uses their graveyard these days, right? If a monster is sent from your opponent's hand or deck to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 light or dark reptile monster from your graveyard. I mean, I get it. That's fine. I don't know. Are you going to be able to use this effect every single game? It's so reliant on your opponent, just kind of like walking into it. Walkie slush. Stupid. Okay. This is, I think, the boss monster, technically. Ogdo Abyss. Okay. The Snake Overlord. Light, level 10, reptile effect, 3100 attack, 2200 defense. It's cool. Why does it have to be level 10? If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute 3 monsters, special summon this card. Once, while this card is face up on the field, quick effect, you can send all our monsters on the field to the graveyard. So a firewall, like once on the field. You can only use this effect if this card's named once per turn. Tributing 3 monsters, huh? As an Egyptian God player, I understand the trite of making that happen, but and it's a good effect, I suppose. It's weird, right? Except it should be like send all of the monsters except reptile monsters or something like that. I don't know if that's even worth it. Anyways, we have Ogdotic Water Lily. Send 1 reptile monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then if you have 5 or more reptile monsters with different names in your graveyard, you can special summon 1 of them. Yeah, so this can be special summoned too. So this is a good card so far. If you activate Snake Rain, then you could send another one. Then you could special summon this card. This like doesn't have to be special summoned this way. Nice. Okay, so that's good. This is Ogdotic Origin. This is the field spell. If a face-up reptile monster control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. That's good, for sure. If this card in the field zone is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can send cards from the top of your opponent's deck to the graveyard equal to the number of reptile monsters with different names in your graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. It's a good field spell, I suppose. Although it may help your opponent to send stuff to the graveyard, so you gotta be careful with that. This is Ogdotic Hollow. During the main phase, you contribute 1 reptile effect monster, then target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but send it to the graveyard during the end phase. And does it negate its effects? No. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this card is a face-up card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, send all face-up non-reptile monsters you control to the graveyard. That is a really steep cost. Although I guess that's, just going to have those on the field. I think that's good. I think that can be good. Again, it's dependent on your opponent using its graveyard, but a lot of times they do. This is Ogdotic Calling. It's a normal trap. Special summon 2 snake tokens, we'll call them. Reptile, Dark, level 2, 0 attack, 0 defense. Or if you have 8 or more Ogdotic monsters with different names in your graveyard, you can apply this effect instead. Special summon 2 reptile monsters with different names from your graveyard. How many do you need? 8 or more? Different. Are there even 8 Is this all a copy of each? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 of them. You have to have 8. That is such a... I don't know what the... I guess the idea is that you tribute them. See, this should be the continuous spell. This should be like opposite, I think. And this card would be a lot better because you can constantly give yourself tokens of tribute for these cards. That's a mistake, in my opinion. So this is the Docile Fa chords. Docile Fa chord. Pendulum cards. I have not done a video on these yet, so I'm glad I get to do this now. This is an Earth level 1 Fairy Pendulum effect, 100 attack, 400 defense, scale 8, which is very nice. And I think most of these have the same pendulum, that your pendulum monsters cannot be negated, like when you pendulum summon. So this one says, while you have an even pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, Soulful, let's just call them Chord pendulums, huh? Chord pendulum monsters you control gain attack equal to 100 times their own pendulum scale. Alright. If this card is normal special summon, you can add 1 Chord pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. So I guess the idea is that you normal summon this first. Maybe one of them even special summons as well, that you search. That way you can make... I think there's a Link monster coming out before you pendulum summon, which is super important in pendulum decks. So this is fine. I mean... Again, I love cards that have secondary attack boost because it's just an added layer, but it's not the main idea of the card. So this is decent for sure. And you're not going to pendulum... You don't have to pendulum summon this. I doubt there's a scale 0. This is Record Dreamia, let's call it. A Wind level 2 Fairy Pendulum effect, 600 attack, 400 defense, Pendulum scale 7. Again, your pendulum summon cannot be negated. While you have an odd pendulum scale in your pendulum zone... So I guess that it fits its own requirement because it's a scale 7. If a Chord pendulum monster you control would be destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card instead of one of those cards. If you control a Chord card in your pendulum zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. Again, okay, so I guess the idea here is that you're trying to get into the Link before you pen summon, which this would also accomplish for sure. Alright, this is Mi Sol Fa Chord. Eltilia. Why do they name them these? I'm sure there's like a very simple explanation for it, but I don't know. Water, level 3, so they're all different types, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. We'll have to see. Fairy Pendulum effect, 1,100 attack, 400 defense, Pendulum scale 6. So far, none of these are... Yeah, these are fine. I don't know if there even is anything above a 5. Level 4, level 5. So there's a couple of the... 3 of them that they don't. So I don't think you'd necessarily want to use this as your pendulum scale. While you have an odd pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, if your Chord pendulum monster would be destroyed by battle, you can destroy this card instead. Okay, fine. During your main phase, you can add 1 Chord pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck face up. From your deck to your extra deck face up, except this card. So I guess the idea is that you can basically Foolish Burial. There's a pendulum card coming out that does the same thing. Cool. That's pretty nice. I like these so far. I think these all do like good things as long as their extra deck is supported enough. If you start seeing some good extra deck monsters out of this, you're going to get something cool. So all these have different levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, now that I'm looking at this, which is very bad for XYZ summoning, but that's not, that's only one portion of the game, of course. All right, so let's go to La Sol Fa Chord, Angelia. This is a Fire level 6 Fairy Pendulum effect, 2,300 attack, 1,400 defense. So this has a different pendulum effect here. Oh, and the one before did as well. Excuse me. But this is the scale 3. Your opponent cannot activate spell or trap card or monster effects when your Chord Pendulum monster is Pendulum summoned. This is the same one too for the Gracia. Interesting. Or did I get these mixed up? Okay. Well, I'll do Angelia first, and I'll go back up. Excuse me. While you have an odd pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, if your Chord Pendulum monster attacks, your opponent can activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step, which is meh. During your main phase, you contribute one Chord Pendulum monster, even if face down. Okay, it's interesting. And if you do special summon a Chord Pendulum monster from your deck, whose pendulum scale is 2 higher or 2 lower than that monster, which I guess, works in this archetype because that's like the whole thing. Okay. So this is a level 6, though. I'm not really sure how you're getting this out of your hand that quickly. Interesting. Okay, so we'll go to the Soul Fa Chord Gracia. This is water, level 5, Fairy Pendulum effect, 2100 attack, 1400 defense. And again, like the Angelia, your opponent can activate a spell or trap card or monster effect when your Chord Pendulum monster is Pendulum Summon. This is scale 4, which is not great, but... when you while you have a pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, if your Chord Pendulum monster attacks, your opponent can activate monster effects until the end of the damage step, which is, I guess, is a little more relevant than Angelia, but still. If this card is normal, which is a level 5, or a special summon, you can add 1 Chord spell or trap from deck to hand. Yeah, these two I don't know why are they level 5 and level 6? That's the real question. I get that you wanted like. This is the whole thing. They're all different types, and they like 1 level up, but why make it so difficult to get them on the field? Soul Fa Chord Butia, or level 7 Fairy Pendulum effect, 2500 attack, 2400 defense. And the Pendulum effect is scale 2, and it says your opponent cannot activate spell or trap or monster effect when your Chord Pendulum monster is Pendulum summoned. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Great. So I guess you can't be solemn, which is really, really nice, right? A quick effect. You can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, or if you have an even pendulum scale in your pendulum zone, you can target 1 face-up spell or trap your opponent controls. So it depends, I guess. Yeah, cool. Your opponent this turn, banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of this card's name once per turn. Once per turn at the start of the damage step. If this card battles a monster with equal or higher attack, then the lowest pendulum scale in your pendulum zone times 300, destroy that monster. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster with equal or higher attack, then the lowest pendulum scale. Okay, the lowest pendulum scale would, it could be anything. That's so bizarre, but okay. You would think it would be the highest pendulum scale. So, like, what, a scale 3 would be 900? I don't know. I don't know why that's a thing. It should be, like, the higher one, you would think. But that's fine. This is a negate of a spell or banishes. It doesn't negate. This is Soul Fa Chord Kulia, Wind level 8, Fairy Pendulum effect, 2700 attack, 2500 defense. And it's a scale 1. Your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards or monster effects when your Chord Pendulum monster is Pendulum summoned. I wish it said or activated its effects. Wouldn't that be insane? I guess that's a little overpowered, but who am I to say? You can special summon this card from your hand by attributing 2 Pendulum monsters. I guess that's cool because it's generic. You can only use each of the following effects of this card's name once per turn. You can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, or up to 2 cards if you have an odd pendulum scale in your pendulum zone. Negate its effects until the end of your opponent's turn. I wish this card at least said when it's summoned, because I think there's a trap card coming out that lets you pendulum summon during your opponent's turn. So if it said when this card is pen summoned, and then also these can't be negated, then you could negate 2 cards on the field. But it has to be during your turn, which I don't. Okay, whatever. If you have negates effects until the end of the opponent's turn. When an effect of a monster on the field is activated with an equal or lower attack, then the highest pendulum scale in your pendulum zone times 300, you can destroy that monster. It doesn't negate it, but this is fine. This is definitely the best effect because it's like you can actually use it. Cool. Okay, so this is Soulful, Chord, Elegance. This is a normal spell. Activate one of these cards. Place one Chord Pendulum monster from your deck into your Pendulum zone. That's really, 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 really nice. Okay. Is this a... You can only activate one of this card. Okay, I was going to say, that'd be insane. The second effect, add one Chord Pendulum monster from your deck, from your hand to your extra deck face up. Then place two Chord Pendulum monsters, one odd and one even scale from your deck in your Pendulum zones. This is just good Pendulum. I mean, if you want to just like complete your scales with one card, does it even lock you into anything? Oh wow! So you have to so you have to have a Chord Pendulum monster in your hand, and then you get to place those two monsters. But that is still really, really good. Add two cards, one odd and one even Pendulum scale from your Pendulum zones to the extra deck face up, and if you do, draw two cards. All of these are good. So this is what makes this interesting, period. Because otherwise this stinks so far. Or it's just not very good, I should say. Especially without extra deck support. Very nice. Okay. Now we're talking here. This is Soulful Chord Scale. This is a normal spell as well. And you can apply any of the following effects in sequence based on the number of Chord Pendulum monsters you control with different names. 7? How is that even possible? I guess it means like in your Pendulum zone too. If you have 2 in your Pendulum and then 5 on the field, that's how you can get to the 7. All right. But if you control 3, return 1 card from your Pendulum zone to the hand, and if you do, place a Chord Pendulum monster from your extra deck into the Pendulum zone. That's not all right. Whatever. 5 plus special summon 1 Chord Pendulum monster from your hand. Ooh. Ooh. What the heck? 7. Destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls. I don't think that's going to be relevant. We can move on from that one. Soulful Chord Harmonia. This is the field spell, because every new archetype has to have a field spell. You can only activate one of these effects. Add 1 face-up Chord Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. Alright, that's fine. Is it when it's activated? You can activate one of these effects. And you can use each of these. You can only use each of these effects. Okay, and the other one, second effect, increase the Pendulum scale of 1 Chord card in your Pendulum zone by its level this turn. That could be relevant. That could be relevant for sure. Especially because of the other one here, the Butia, because it has to be the lowest one. So that would mean the lowest scale you probably have is a 1. This would again increase to 9. So, okay. This makes more sense now that that card does. The field spell's okay here so far. Yeah, you can only activate one of these effects. I guess you can only use... You can use 1 effect per turn, though. If you control another Chord Pendulum monster... if you control Chord Pendulum monster cards with at least 3 different even Pendulum scales, or at least 3 even odd scales, destroy 1 card your opponent controls. I guess. I mean, that's not the... That's fine, I guess. But the real probably important one will be the second one. Or I guess the first effect. The third one won't come up so much. It's fine. It's fine. This is Soulful Chord Muskia. This is a normal trap. Activate one of these effects based on the Pendulum scales of the Chord Pendulum monster cards you control. Odd. Okay, even. Even and odd. So if they're both odd... Or you can only have like, or if you place like 1 in there, I guess you could also do that. I'm not sure how that even worked, but special summon 1 face-up Chord Pendulum monster with an odd Pendulum scale from your extra deck. Even special summon 1 face-up Chord Pendulum monster with an even Pendulum scale from your extra deck. Or even and odd, target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. That's just fine. It seems like very specific though. This is Chord Formal. This is a counter trap. If you have Chord cards in your Pendulum zone, when your opponent activates a spell or trap or monster effect, shuffle 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck into the deck, and then apply these effects. Oh, I thought this was just an Omni negate. Pendulum monsters you control are unaffected by that effect. Cards in your Pendulum zone cannot be destroyed by that effect. Cards in your Pendulum cannot be... it's just not worth it. It's not good. Hopefully we get better ones soon. This is the Space Bear stuff. That's what I call it, or Sartic, or whatever they're saying. I think it's Space Bears. I'll quickly go back over these for those who are new, and then we'll just, continue on. This is Space Bear Mick Polar, Water, level 7, Beast Effect. Attack 700, Defense 2000. During the main phase, quick effect. You contribute one other level 7 or higher monster from your hand. Special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except monsters with a level. So no link summoning or XYZ summoning. But you can link summon, interestingly enough. I don't know if that comes up. If this card is special summoned, you can add one Space Bear monster from your deck to your hand, except a copy of itself. Decent. I wish its attack was 2,000 and its defense was 700, but that's, what are you going to do? This is Space Bear Mactanus, Water, level 7, Beast Effect, 700 attack, 1700 defense. During the main phase, quick effect. You contribute one other level 7 or higher monster from your hand. Special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except monsters with a level. If this card is special summoned, you could target one Space Bear monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So far, I don't know, I don't remember why these are quick effects. I think they all are, but I don't really know what the use of those would be. Other than to just, I guess, get a advantage during your opponent's turn, which I guess isn't a bad thing at all. This is Space Bear Mick Billis, Water, level 7, Beast Effect, Attack 700, Defense 1400. During the main phase, quick effect, you contribute one other level 7 or higher monster from your hand. Special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except monsters with a level. If this card is special summoned, you can special summon one Space Bear monster from your hand. Okay, that's fine. Some of these have good effects when they quick effects, so... This is Space Bear Mega Polar, Water, level 7, Beast Warrior Tuner effect. 2,500 attack, 700 defense. Same thing, quick effect. You can tribute a level 7 or higher monster from a hand, special summon this card. And if this card is special summoned while you control another Space Bear monster, you can target one spell or trap your opponent controls, destroy it. That's good. Now we're getting somewhere. And it looks like none of these cards... It's interesting, right? The ones that aren't that good are super rares, and the ones that are good are rares. Which I suppose is a good thing. Anyways, this is Space Bear Mactanus, Water, level 8, Beast Warrior Tuner effect. 2,400 attack, 700 defense, quick effect, tribute, special summon. If this card is special summoned while you control another Space Bear monster, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Change it to face-down defense position. I like the disruption during your opponent's turn through the main deck, not even the extra deck. It's definitely the best part about this deck. During the main phase, this is Space Bear. Didn't I just do Mega Billis? Oh, Mick Billis, and this is Mega Billis. Sure. Water, level 7, Beast Warrior Tuner effect, 2,800 attack, 700 defense. Quick effect, tribute, special summon. If this card is special summoned while you control another Space Bear monster, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. So it covers it all, right? Spell and trap destruction, and changing it to face down doesn't negate. So the only thing I guess it's missing is negating that monster's effects. So, which I think eventually it could exist. Now we can go into the extra deck for this archetype. This is Space Bear Polari, Water, level 1, Beast Synchro effect, 700 attack, 1,000 defense. So these cards aren't normal synchro summoned. They're actually just the difference between levels. So must be special summoned from your extra deck by sending 2 monsters you control with a level difference of 1 to the graveyard. 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner. If this card is special summoned, you can activate 1 Space Bear Big Dipper directly from your deck. You contribute 1 level 7 or higher monster. Add to your hand or special summon 1 Space Bear monster from your graveyard. And you can only use this effect once per turn, which is nice because all of these need another Space Bear monster on the field to activate their effects, and that, obviously fulfills that requirement. This is Space Bear Septentrion. Water, level 7, Beast Warrior Synchro effect, 3,000 attack, 700 defense. Cannot be synchro summoned. Must be special summoned from the extra deck by sending 2 monsters you control with a level difference of 7 to the graveyard. Negate, and then one of them has to be a level 8 or higher tuner and 1 non-tuner synchro monster, which is going to be Polari. Negate the effects of face-up monsters without a level that were special summoned from the extra deck, meaning this covers without a level. So link monsters and XYZ. Fusion is fine. Synchro is fine. Okay, I mean, that's, yeah. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can add 1 Space Bear card from your deck to your hand. So that's the good part, right? Because when they special summon a card, you can add the one that lets you at least flip face down. So you could special summon it and then get rid of the card that this doesn't negate. That's kind of the backup plan for sure. This is Space Bear Grand Chariot, Water level 7, Beast Warrior Synchro effect, 2700 attack, 700 defense. Cannot be synchro summoned, must be special summoned by sending 2 monsters you control with a level difference of 7. If this card is special summoned, you can target up to 2 other cards on the field, destroy them. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets a Space Bear card you control, quick effect, you contribute 1 monster from your hand or field, negate the activation. That's fine, but this is good, right? Because when you go into Polarize, you have either the going first move, which is to, go into this card, the Septentrion, or you can go into the Grand Chariot if you're going second, which is good. This is Space Bear Departure, normal spell. Discard 1 card, add up to 2 Space Bear monsters from your deck to your hand. If you would tribute a monster to activate a Space Bear monster's effect, except during the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. That is just good. It's Pendulum Call for the deck, and you gotta appreciate that the secondary effect is also very, very good. This is Space Bear Slider, quick play spell. You can target one of your Space Bear monsters that was banished or in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot attack. Also destroy it during the end phase. That's good because, again, you can special summon the ones that have these good effects on the field. And it's great that it's a quick effect. Everything about this is a quick effect, which is great. For the rest of the turn, again, it locks you into the extra deck, but that's fine because you're not doing anything else. This is Space Bear Big Dipper. This is the field spell. Once per turn, if your Space Bear monster would tribute a monster to activate its effect, you can banish 1 level 7 or higher Space Bear monster from your graveyard instead. Again, both of these kind of do the same thing, which is good because, on paper, you're burning through a lot of your resources. Each time a monster is special summoned, place 1 counter on this card. Once per turn, if your monster is special summoned and a Space Bear Synchro is on the field, you can remove all counters from this card, minimum 7, and target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control of it. That's just kind of an extra, I suppose. It's a 1-of in the deck for sure. I think you would play this. And last for the Space Bear archetype is Quint Charge. This is a continuous trap. Once per turn, you can pay 700 life points, then activate one of the following effects. Synergy with Egyptian gods, paying life points. Not a lot of cards do that. A lot of them give you, you have to take, I think it's damage. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't even know if this falls into that category now. But anyways, you can add 1 Space Bear monster from graveyard to hand, which is good during your opponent's turn because you can tribute from your hand. Tribute 2 Space Bear monsters, even if face down, and if you do, special summon from your extra deck 1 Space Bear monster with the level equal to the difference. So you're just synchro summoning. When your Space Bear Synchro monster is destroyed by an opponent's attack, you can activate this effect. Your opponent must shuffle cards into the deck, so the total number of cards in their field, hand, and graveyard is 7. That's specific, but it's not, that's not the important part, I guess. So that was the Space Bear stuff. Pretty neat. Ooh, looks like we have a reprint of Skull Meister. Shout out. That's really nice. I think the card's kind of expensive right now. Anyways, we can go into, looks like, some support for Venommen, the King of Poisonous Snakes. I guess this is more Snake Rain stuff, maybe? This is a Dark Level 8 Reptile effect, 0 attack, 0 defense. Cannot be special summoned by another effect monster's effect. Unaffected by Venom Swamp. Gains 500 attack for each Reptile monster in your graveyard. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can banish 1 other Reptile monster from your graveyard, special summon this card. That's not a once per turn either, but it has to be destroyed by battle. Sure, why not? This is Venom Naga, the Deity of Poisonous Snakes. I think this is an old card. Dark level 10 Reptile effect, no attack or defense. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must be special summoned with Rise of Snake Deity or by its own effect. Gains 500 attack for each Reptile monster in your graveyard. Neither player can target this card with card effects. Also, it is unaffected by other cards and their effects. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can banish 1 other Reptile monster from your graveyard, special summon this card. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, place 1 Hyper Venom counter on it. When the 3rd Hyper Venom counter is placed on this card, you win the duel. Neato. I guess... Oh, it's just a rare. I don't know if this is expensive. I thought it would be kind of one of the higher rarities, but whatever. Alright, so now I think we're going to get into some more of the more, like, reprints and random stuff here. Let's take a look at what we got. Evil Dragon Anata. Dark level 8 reptile effect. Question marks for attack and defense. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must be special summoned by banishing all reptile monsters you control and in your graveyard. This card's attack and defense becomes the number of monsters banished for this special summon times 600. Once per turn during the end phase, target 1 card on the field, destroy that card. It's actually kind of decent, I think. It's like a win condition in and of itself. Okay. Meister, I think we all know what this does. Negates effects in the graveyard. I think it's like $3 right now, so maybe this will... Yeah, it's only a rare too. Sweet. That's a nice reprint for sure. Light Serpent, if this card is sent from hand to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. It cannot be used as synchro material. Neat, I suppose. Sure, why not? Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. Okay, I don't know why that's in here. Pankratops, every, I guess, reprint of that is good. This is Dinosaur Power, the Mighty Draco Slayer. Draco Slayer stuff, why not? 1 Draco Slayer Pendulum plus 1 Pendulum monster must first be special summoned from your extra deck by attributing the above cards you control, so you don't need polymerization. Pendulum monsters in your Pendulum monster zones and Pendulum zones cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. Decent enough. And Elixir Providence just came off the ban list, which is, you know, something that I think we've all just kind of been waiting for. Alright, King of Feral Imps, 2 level 4 monsters. You can attach one material from this card, add a reptile monster from deck to hand. Very good. And Snake Rain's getting a reprint. This Magister Paladin, the Ascending Draco Slayer, I don't know if this is on here. When this card is XYZ summoned, you can add 1 Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand during the end phase of this turn. That's not very good. Once per turn, you can attach 1 material from this card, special summon 1 face-up Draco Slayer Pendulum from the extra deck. Cool. Trade-in is on here because those are all level 8s. Viper's Rebirth. If all monsters in your graveyard are reptile, target 1 non-tuner in your graveyard, special summon it, but destroy it during the end phase. That's fine. This is a Ayers Rock Sunrise normal spell. Target 1 beast monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. And if you do, all face-up monsters your opponent controls currently lose 200 attack for each beast, plant, or wing beast monster currently in your graveyard. I don't think you're going to be using that anytime soon. Pot of Riches, that's... Sure, I mean, it's actually not good. Shuffle 3 Pendulum monsters into the deck from your graveyard and or face-up extra deck, then draw 2 cards. You cannot special summon the turn you activate this card except by Pendulum Summon. I guess that's fine in this deck, the Chord deck, because you aren't really going into the extra deck outside of generic things, so sure. Wavering Eyes is the quick play spell. Destroy as many cards in each player's Pendulum zones as possible. Then apply these effects in sequence based, and depending on the number of cards destroyed by this effect. 1, 500 damage to your opponent. 2, you can add 1 Pendulum monster from main deck to hand. 3, you can banish 1 card on the field. And 4, you can add 1 Wavering Eyes from deck to hand. Oh, so it replaces itself. Interesting. Okay. This is Ignite Reload. Reveal any number of Pendulum monsters from your hand and shuffle them into the deck. Then draw cards equal to the number of cards you shuffled into the deck plus 1. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot draw cards by card effects. That's fine. I think you'd rather just kind of play cards that you want, but sure. This is Damage equals Reptile. Continuous Trap. Once per turn, when you take damage from battle involving a reptile monster, you can special summon 1 reptile monster from your deck with attack less than or equal to the damage you took. That's useless. Rise of the Snake Deity. Oh, when a face-up Venommen an enemy. The King of Poisonous Snakes you control is destroyed except by battle. Special summon 1 of those Venom Naga, the deity of poisonous snakes, from your hand or deck. Fine. Offering to the Snake Deity, target 1 face-up reptile monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls destroy all 3 targets. That's decent enough for sure. And I think that's been around for a long time. Is this a good set? Yeah, I'm going to say no. I would not recommend getting this set, to be honest with you. And I most of the time say yes, but nothing jumps off the page. I don't see these shaking up the meta. The Pendulum cards just are underwhelming. The Space Bear stuff, the Urasatic or whatever you want to call it, is fine. But it's not like dogmatic or anything. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be completely wrong and these cards will just dominate the meta. But for now, I don't think so. But other than that, that's going to do it for today's video. And I will see you guys next time.